Title: Betrayed but Blessed. How my wife's affair introduced me to the singer who changed everything. I never imagined that betrayal could come with a strange kind of blessing. My name is Daniel, I'm 32, and I had been married to my wife, Laura, for 7 years. On the outside, everything seemed perfect. 2 kids, a home in the suburbs, the picture of a stable life. But behind closed doors, cracks were forming, invisible to everyone but me. It started with small things: late-night texts, secretive phone calls, and subtle defensiveness whenever I asked questions. At first, I brushed it off, telling myself it was just stress, or the routine of family life wearing us down. But then came the day I found her email account open on her laptop. I didn't need to read everything. One subject line was enough. "Can't wait to see you tonight." The recipient's name I recognized instantly. It was someone outside our life, someone who didn't belong in our home. I felt my world tilt. My heart pounded, not with anger initially, but with a kind of cold, hollow disbelief. This woman, the one I had trusted completely, the one I had built a life with, was planning to betray me. I wanted to confront her immediately, but I knew myself well enough to wait. Emotions can cloud judgment, and I needed clarity. That evening, I decided to act differently. I didn't yell. I didn't storm the house. Instead, I quietly stepped out, needing air, needing to think. Walking through the city streets, I felt an unfamiliar mixture of pain and resolve. Betrayal hurts, but it also sharpens perspective. Hours later, I found myself at a small music venue downtown, a place I had passed countless times but never entered. I didn't know why I went there. I just needed a distraction, a way to feel something other than heartbreak. The room was dimly lit, the stage modest. And then I heard her. A voice so raw, so pure. It cut through the weight of my grief like sunlight through clouds. Her name was Sophie, and she was performing a song I'd never forget. The lyrics seemed to speak directly to me, to my pain, to the mixture of loss and hope swirling inside me. I didn't know it yet, but meeting Sophie that night would change the trajectory of my life. In a moment of irony I couldn't yet comprehend, my wife's betrayal had led me here, to this exact spot, at this exact time, listening to the voice that would shake me awake. After the show, I lingered near the stage, unsure why I felt compelled to stay. The crowd had mostly cleared, leaving a few scattered faces and Sophie, packing up her guitar. I watched her, feeling a strange mix of admiration and curiosity. Finally, I approached, my heart still heavy but something in her presence softening the edges of my pain. "Hey," I said cautiously. "That was incredible." She looked up, eyes bright and open, a genuine smile forming. "Thanks," she replied. "I didn't think anyone would still be here." We started talking, at first small talk. Music, the venue, how long she had been performing, but the conversation quickly deepened. There was an honesty in her voice, a lack of pretense that felt almost startling. I found myself sharing things I hadn't told anyone. The subtle ways my marriage had changed, the sting of betrayal, the emptiness I felt in a life that had once been full of love. Sophie listened, not just with politeness, but with real attention, nodding, asking questions, letting me unravel without judgment. In that short hour, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. A connection that wasn't complicated by deceit, by obligation, by past promises broken. It was simple, pure, and rare. Meanwhile, Laura was unaware of the emotional shift occurring miles away. She had called several times, sent texts that I ignored, hoping that simply answering would be a trap for my own emotions. I realized something crucial. I had the power to choose where my heart belonged now. I could stay trapped in resentment, in anger, in what had been lost. Or I could allow myself to feel, to be open, to discover something new. Before I left the venue, I exchanged numbers with Sophie. It felt strange, almost guilty, to be forming a connection while my marriage was falling apart. But it wasn't betrayal. It was a rediscovery of myself, of my capacity to feel, to trust, to hope. For the first time in months, I felt alive again, not because Laura had hurt me, but because her choices had inadvertently pushed me toward someone who would see me clearly, who would reflect my own truth back to me. Walking home that night, I realized something ironic. Life has a way of turning the worst moments into opportunities, if only we allow ourselves to see them. Betrayal had cracked open a door I hadn't known existed, and stepping through it might just lead me to a future I never imagined. The days that followed were strange and new. Laura tried to reconnect, her apologies, explanations, and pleas landing like distant echoes. I listened, but the space she had created between us with her actions could not be closed by words alone. I realized that forgiveness is not just about letting go. It's about understanding what you will and will not accept in your life. And what she had done was not acceptable to me. Meanwhile, my connection with Sophie grew naturally. We met for coffee, shared walks through quiet streets, and slowly, organically, conversations that had begun with music moved into our lives more deeply. She didn't rush me. She didn't demand anything. She simply existed alongside my pain and curiosity, allowing me to heal while discovering someone new. Her presence reminded me that trust could exist again, that openness could still feel safe. Then came the moment that crystallized everything. Laura called one night, desperate, voice breaking, saying she wanted to fix everything, promising it wouldn't happen again. I sat in my apartment listening and felt the finality of what had changed in me. The betrayal had been a turning point, not just for my relationship with her, but for my own life. I could no longer return to someone who had chosen deception over honesty, no matter how much history we shared. I realized something profound. Sometimes, the people who hurt us the most inadvertently guide us toward what we truly need. Meeting Sophie had been one of those moments. Laura's affair had been the catalyst, the uncomfortable, painful nudge that pushed me to open a door I hadn't even known existed. And on the other side of that door was someone who inspired me, who made me feel seen, and who reminded me that life could be vibrant, even after heartbreak. In the weeks that followed, I ended my marriage with clarity, not bitterness. The sadness was there, of course, but it was mixed with relief, growth, and anticipation. I had walked through betrayal and come out with something better. Someone who challenged me, inspired me, and brought music back into my life, literally and figuratively. Sometimes life doesn't give you closure in the way you expect. Sometimes it gives you a gift wrapped in pain, disguised as betrayal. And if you're willing to see it, to embrace it, the world has a way of changing everything for the better. My wife's affair had been devastating, but it had also introduced me to Sophie, the singer who, without even trying, changed everything.